6:13 WMAZ Morning starts now.
Well, it's the beginning part of November, and we've got a new tropical system in the Atlantic. We'll talk about it and potential impacts this week in central Georgia coming up.
Plus, tomorrow is your time to cast your vote. We tell you about the last-minute rallies and tours across the state and what to look out for at the polls.
And we explain some big spending plans on the agenda for tomorrow's Macon Bib Commission meeting.
And many of you will be hitting the polls tomorrow. How to manage that stress that comes with Election Day coming up.
Alrighty then, well, good Monday morning, Central Georgia. You're taking a live look over the city of Dublin. The time is now 6:31 here on this November the 7th. It's no secret, it's a little foggy, but we're here to brighten up your day. I'm Wanye Reese.
And I'm Caitlin Heck, and hopefully you took advantage of that extra hour of sleep this weekend because we have a busy week ahead.
Exactly. It was great to get that extra hour of sleep. Did you take advantage of it, Alex?
Oh, absolutely. But the other thing is brightening up your day. It is now 6:31 and the sun is coming up. We're looking at earlier sunrises now because of that additional hour of sleep over the weekend. Of course, we fell back, and we are going to be looking at an earlier sunset, unfortunately, as well. 64 in Macon, 64 in Warner Robins, 66 in Cochran, 63 in McRae, and 65 to get your morning started in Soperton. A lot of fog across the area. This is widespread fog, not patchy in nature. And where it's not exactly foggy at the moment, we still have low cloud cover. That's going to settle down at the ground here as the sun comes up. So a dense fog advisory in effect until about 10 a.m. this morning. Allow for a few extra minutes out there on the roads this morning as we roll on into the morning hours. A high temperature today, right around 84. That is well above the average of 72. And then as we roll into the evening tonight, back down into the 70s. But yes, subtropical storm Nicole formed at 4 a.m. I'm going to have much more on this, including potential wind and rain in central Georgia as we roll into this week that comes your way here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Alex. With about 24 hours to go, the last-minute campaign rush is on across the state.
That's exactly right. Today, Governor Brian Kemp is flying across the state for campaign stops from Columbus to Macon, Albany, Savannah, and Augusta. Yesterday, he traveled to North Georgia, thanking our veterans.
Incredible support for our veterans up here in Northwest Georgia. We cannot thank this community enough for showing their tribute to our men and women in uniform and those that have served and sacrificed.
Earlier in the day, Kemp held a meet and greet with a crowd of voters. You see him right there in Ringgold, where he encouraged people to get out to the polls tomorrow.
Meanwhile, his Democratic challenger Stacey Abrams held bus stops all across Georgia, including one in Savannah with actress Natalie Portman.
Here, Abrams told voters how many days they are away from destiny.
As your governor, I will invest in justice, and I will invest in faith, and I will invest in every one of our young people so they know they are loved and they know their futures are bright.
Over the weekend, Abrams made stops in Dublin and Atlanta as well. She highlighted her priorities if elected governor. She said her first act in office would be to expand Medicare. She also told voters she plans to expand the Hope Scholarship to create need-based aid.
Today in Kennesaw, Republican U.S. Senate candidate Herschel Walker plans a Unite Georgia bus rally stop at 7 p.m. in Kennesaw. Senator Lindsey Graham, Ben Carson, and Clay Travis will join Walker for the event. In just a few hours, the man Walker hopes to defeat, Democrat Senator Raphael Warnock, is coming to Macon for a rally. Reverend Warnock will speak and rally supporters for the final push to the polls at Barefoot Tavern on 2nd Street in downtown Macon. They do ask that you arrive by 12:30 this afternoon if you would like to attend the event.
Well, right now, the American Civil Liberties Union of Georgia filed a lawsuit asking for time to give hundreds of Cobb County absentee voters a chance to cast their votes. In a post on Twitter, they say, quote, "Our elections should be free and fair and accessible to all eligible voters." It comes after the ACLU says more than 1,000 absentee ballots were never sent in the mail. Absentee voters who did not get their ballots by mail can still vote in person at their precinct on Election Day. And as you head to vote tomorrow, you may get a surprise. The Secretary of State's office says if someone challenges your voting status, it's not something that would show up on the state's My Voter page. So under Georgia's voting law, if a voter's eligibility is challenged, it is the responsibility of the local elections board to first notify the voter about the challenge and give a public hearing date, and then notify all parties of the local election board's final decision. Now, the Secretary of State's office says if you find out you have been challenged when you get to the polls, you have two options. Depending on the county, some will sign a form confirming your eligibility and let you vote using a regular ballot. Others may get you to use a provisional ballot, which gives you until November 14th to prove your eligibility and get your vote counted.
Right now, voter intimidation concerns at Georgia polls run high ahead of tomorrow's midterm election. When the Brennan Center for Justice from New York University looked at 10 states where disruption at the polls have been especially high, Georgia made the list. To help, they put together guides for voters so you'll know your rights when you go to cast your ballot. Under Georgia law, anyone found guilty of voter intimidation can face up to 10 years in prison and a $100,000 fine.
Have to be as transparent as possible to instill in the voters that there's nothing to hide.
Election leaders down in Lawrence County are working to build voter trust. We talked to the folks who help you exercise your right to vote about how they work to gain it. That story, it's coming up tonight at 6.
It is 6:36. This morning, a man faces aggravated assault and child cruelty charges. It all started with a suspected kidnapping call at the Walmart on Watson Boulevard in Warner Robins yesterday. Police say it turns out it wasn't a kidnapping and the man and child involved are related. Witnesses say 67-year-old Jaime Dubé pulled a child from his car. Dubé threw the child to the ground in the woods behind the store and choked him. A witness held him at gunpoint until police got there. This morning, investigators are working to find one of two drivers that hit and killed a bicyclist in Macon. Bibb County Coroner Leon Jones says 50-year-old Rupert Ward died in the crash. The accident happened as he rode down Irwinton Road near Crystal Lake Drive early Saturday morning. The first driver left, but the driver of the second car stayed. Today, we may hear more on the fate of two historic buildings in downtown Macon. A report by Liz Fabian with the Center for Collaborative Journalism says First Presbyterian Church plans to build a new outdoor activity and worship space on Mulberry Street. But to do that, the church has to demolish two of its current buildings, something the Historic Macon Foundation encourages people to oppose. One is a 3-story administration building built in 1925 with reported structural issues. The other building is the former office of Macon's female architect pioneer, LMA Ellis League. Demolitions were dropped from the Design Review Board, leaving only the approval of the designs for the two new buildings. The Design Review Board is set to meet this evening at 4. Well, tomorrow, millions of dollars were on the agenda for the Macon-Bibb Commission, starting with over $36 million for the capital improvement program. The mayor says about $6 million of that would go towards the runway expansion at the Middle Georgia Regional Airport. It would allow larger aircraft to land and take off from that airport. Other projects range from road repairs to making sure the sheriff's office and fire department have the vehicles and gear they need. Mayor Lester Miller says they're at least doubling the amount going to capital improvement program this year compared to years past. Also tomorrow, you can see the final drawings for the amphitheater planned by the Old Macon Mall. Crews broke ground on the 10,000-seat amphitheater back in February. The estimated finish date actually got pushed back, but Mayor Miller says they now plan for the amphitheater to be open between September and October of next year. He says by February, you'll see crews working on getting the steel beams up and mounted. Coming up, our morning reporter TJ Anthony, he is standing by to show you how to manage stress this election day. Well, it's 6:38 here on your Monday morning. It's turning out to be a busy week. We have election, we have the tropics that are heating up this week, but here at 13, we got you covered. That's right. We got a whole team of people ready to help you out. But, you know, we thought elections were going to be big enough. The tropics just had to throw their name in there.
Mother Nature just said, watch this. Here's a hurricane. Yeah. And just be glad that, you know, we're not down in Florida because they're probably going to feel this a lot more than we are here in central Georgia. But still, potential impacts that we'll talk about right now. It is foggy across a lot of central Georgia this morning. You look off in the distance there from downtown. You see some of that fog and some of the low clouds there as the sun is now coming up. 64 in Macon, 63 in Warner Robins, looking at 65 in Perry. We've got 64 in Milledgeville, 65 in Wrightsville, and 61 in Eastman at this hour, 72 over in Thomaston, and 72 is our average high for this time of year. Here's the visibility map. Widespread fog, especially as you head up towards Metro Atlanta this morning, and we're going to be seeing that expand as we roll into at least the next hour or so, and then it'll begin to dissipate as we roll on into the morning hours. Well, it should be out of here completely by about, say, the 11 a.m. hour or so. The dense fog advisory will expire at 10 a.m., maybe just allow for a few extra minutes out there on the roads as we work our way into this Monday. But as we do so, we are going to see clearing through the afternoon hours. There we are right now with this low cloud cover, maybe 1 or 2 sprinkles before all is said and done. But as we work our way there at the noon hour, we're going to be clear across central Georgia as a front off towards our northwest begins to fall apart, and then that is going to allow for high pressure to build itself in time for election day tomorrow. So waking up something similar this morning, we're looking at 60s across the board, unseasonably warm, but then as we work our way into the afternoon, still looking at the possibility of upper 70s, in fact the likelihood of upper 70s before we're back down into the 60s when we're counting votes tomorrow night after the polls close right around 7 p.m. Now beyond Tuesday, then our forecast becomes affected by this subtropical storm Nicole. It formed at 4 a.m. this morning, winds at 45 miles an hour. Here's the cone on it now, lifting towards Florida over the next few days. potentially making landfall as a strong tropical storm or a weak hurricane early in the morning on Thursday, anywhere from, say, the Daytona Beach area down to Miami, and then making a U-turn there as a cold front pushes it away, coming by central Georgia here, potentially bringing us some rainfall. So let's map out the details here on Future View. This is the GFS Thursday at about 5 p.m. Scattered showers beginning in and around central Georgia. Maybe some more widespread scattered showers, if you will, by the time we get into Friday afternoon and evening. The center of the storm down there in the Gulf of Mexico, that continues to move towards the north. All of the rain out of here by Saturday afternoon. The European showing something similar. The center of the storm down in the Gulf of Mexico here as scattered showers begin Thursday afternoon, more widespread here on Friday, but then lifting out of central Georgia as we work our way into Saturday. But rain aside, the wind is going to come in earlier and probably be a bigger impact. Gusts upwards of 40 miles an hour for Thursday and for Friday, thanks to the pressure gradient between the storm itself and the high pressure to the north. So even though the storm will be coming ashore on Thursday, we'll still be seeing those 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts here in central Georgia, something similar to what Ian did. But again, the details will become a little more clear as we get closer to the event. Today, look for a high temperature of 84. The fog will be clearing, giving way to mostly sunny skies. Sunrise this morning at 6:57, so an hour earlier than we were looking at last week, thanks to time change over the weekend. Here's your election day forecast for tomorrow as well. Looking at a high temperature of 79, still above average, as our average for this time of year is about 72. So the weather, not a reason to not vote tomorrow. 69 there for Wednesday, that high pressure to the north that we were talking about, allowing for a wedge to set up. That's going to keep our temperatures cooler before we're back into the 70s with rain on Thursday and Friday. Then comes the weekend. And then we're a little more fall-like. 69 there for Saturday, calling it partly cloudy and sunny on Sunday with a high temperature of 58.